Yeah. See, after find out the Glaser test, we need to another test is there, that is a Goldfeld quant test. So this is a popular method is applicable if one assumes that eta squared has a variance in sigma square. So for example, see, most of the scholars they will use this kind of test. This is this one Goldfeld quant test. So how we can find out this is a very positive related to one explanatory variable in the regression model. So as the PERC test, what is the variance of the error term is depends on the explanatory variable, that is the x1. So same thing is followed. To test this explicitly, the Goldfeld and Quant suggested that following the steps. So before run the model, we need to follow certain steps. The first one is the order or rank of the observations according to the values of xi. So first we need to know that we need to arrange the order or rank of the observations, beginning with the lowest x values. For example, from the beginning onward, we need to know that uh, we need to order the values on the base of their uh, numbers, or we can say on the base of their values, we can put rank wise. Then omit SC central observations. For example, we need to delete some central observation where C is specified a priori and divide the remaining values. How we can divide n minus 3, n minus c, sorry, n minus c. So the observations into two groups, that is the n minus c by divided by 2. So when there is certain observations are there, simple we can divide the into two parts. Divide the two parts. That is the two equal parts. So then that is the n minus c by 2. N minus c by 2. Then third one, then fit the OLS regression. So the first one, that is the n minus c 2 observation, and the last one n minus 2 by 2 observation. So as I told you that when we are into data can be divided into two parts, then first we need to run the first part and second we need to run the second part. Then obtain the respective residuals of sum of square, that is the RSS. So residual sum of squares, nothing but the sum of nothing but almost the total sum of squares values, nothing but errors sum of squares. So when you get the error value, simple, I am going to repeat how we can get the error value: y minus y cap, y minus y cap, y minus y cap, y minus y cap. So they will get error value. So when you square it, that is a square value, error squares. Okay. So when you add all the values, that is called residual sum of squares. Residual sum of squares. So sum of error squares, that is called sum of error squares. So that is called a residual sum of square. That is RSS1 and RSS2. So for the particular model, first model, we need to calculate residual sum of square. For the second model, you need to run, you will need to get RSS1, residual sum of square 2. Then after getting that residual sum of squares, you have to compute the ratios. So that is RSS2 by different df, that is the degree of freedom, and divide by RSS1 by df, that is the residual sum of square of one model. So simple, I am going to do ratio. So whatever we get the residual sum of square of two regression model, that can be divided by degrees of freedom value, that is the df value. Then divide by RSS1, that is the residual sum of square of model 1, divided by first model's degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom. So how we can get the df degrees of freedom? That is a c minus 1 into r minus 1. There is a column minus 1 into row minus 1. So how many rows are there in particular model? How many columns are there in our model? So they will get a df value, degrees of freedom. Df is nothing but degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom will be calculated is equal c minus 1 into r minus 1. C minus 1 into r minus 1. That is a c for column. How many columns are there in a particular model? Minus 1 into how many rows are there in our model. We will get degrees of freedom. So if UI are assumed to be normally distributed, for example, when you get errors are assumed to be normally distributed, generally whatever we get errors, we should assume that the errors are normally distributed. But all the variables should be normally distributed. So when the variance of the error term is when the errors are normally distributed, what we can say that there is no heteroscedasticity, there is a only homoscedasticity. Generally we do. So if the assumptions of homoscedasticity is violated, for example, if errors of the variables, that is the error values are normally distributed. Some is peak level, some is a plateau or mesocode. Nothing but so one normal distribution is a very peak level like this. Someone is only normal distribution. Someone is only platocrat. Okay. So if the assumption is violated of homoscedasticity, then it can be shown that lambda of value of equation that follows f distribution with the numerator of denominator of df. So when we can see that, we can see in the f distribution table, so with the numerator and denominator, nothing but numerator by denominator of each of, that is a n minus c minus 2k, that is a parameters of variables by divide by 2. So simple, we can see on the base of the values which they computed value. Okay, on the base of value only we will see the f distribution. So in that case only, then we will look at numerator by denominator, log by r values on the base of the degrees of freedom. So then the fourth one, there is a Spearman rank correlation. So as you know, that rank correlation formula is simple: 1 minus 6 sigma d square by n into n square minus 1, or else 1 minus 6 sigma d square is divided by n cube minus n cube minus n. Okay, instead of writing n here, so we can put n into n square, that is the n cube, and n to one n. Okay, that is a simple correlation coefficient value, Spearman rank correlation formula. So here we can use this kind of test also in our heteroscedasty. Simple, we need to understand that is the error values and the explanatory variable. Then we need to examine whether there is any relation between the two variables or not. Then in that case only fit the regression to the data on y and x on the obtaining the residuals. So y is called residuals, x is another variable. Okay. So after find out the relationship between the two variables, that is x and y. So ignore the sign of error, that is taking their absolute values error. There is a rank both error value and xi and estimated yi. So here see, when we are estimating the correlation coefficient here, so we should ignore the sign. We should ignore the sign. Then after ignore the sign, you should assume that the population rank correlation is 0. When if you consider that you can assume that population rank correlation is 0. What it means, when the correlation is 0 value, you should conclude that there is no heteroscedasticity. Okay, if the correlation is between the error values and other explanatory variable, that is 0, you should conclude that there is no heteroscedasticity problem. Only there is a homoscedasticity. Okay, so as they have taken assume that if sample size is more than 8 only, we will consider that the significance of sample coefficient value can be tested by the t-test. So whatever we get the coefficient value, so the coefficient value of the explanatory variable or x variable, so it should be tested by the t-test. Have you understood this Spearman rank correlation, which is very easy? హలో,
చెప్పండి సార్.
అర్థమైందా?
అవును సార్.
Next one, fifth one is very important. This is Bruch-Pagan test. So BPT, we can say the Bruch-Pagan test. So here, the success of the Goldfeld contest depends not only the value of constant, the number of central observation to be the omitted, but also on identifying the correct x variable with which to order the observations. So the Bruch-Pagan test, which it is not it depends on. So not only the value of constant value, there is a c value of c, the number of central observations to be the omitted. Nothing, whatever we delete some variable. So, but also and identify the correct x variables. So we need to identify whether the x variable is correct or wrong, and with which to order the observations. This limitation of this test can be avoided if we consider the Bruch-Pagan Gottfried test. So sometimes see, when we are this limitation of this test can be avoided if we consider the Bruch-Pagan Gottfried test. Sometimes we will call Bruch-Pagan Gottfried test. There is a BPG test. So how we can test this Bruch-Pagan test? To illustrate this test, consider the k variable, nothing but k explanatory variables. linear regression. See, so yi is nothing but either error values, the variance of the value, and beta 1 and beta 2 x2 I variable, and plus dot plus bk and xk. See, nothing but up to n number of variables. There is a k variables. Sometimes we will put n instead of k, we can put n. That is the number of variables. So here the variance of the error term is depends on other explanatory variables. See, as I told you that, see another one here. They assume that error variance, that is a sigma square I, is described as a sigma square I is a function of all that is a alpha 1 plus alpha 2 z2 I plus dot alpha m zm I. It means that, see, the variance of the error term is depends on what z variable. Okay, and plus zm up to m number of variables. So I did not mention here k because earlier in the first equation I mentioned the k here above. Okay, so that's why I put it in the model. Instead of using beta 1, I use alpha 1. But don't confuse. So alpha 1 is nothing but alpha 2 is nothing but coefficient values of z. Here coefficient value of x2. Here the coefficient value of z. Don't confuse. So that is the variance is more is some function of the non-stochastic z variables. For example, here the variance of the model in this function, it is a non-stochastic. Some or all of x can serve as z's. For example, sometimes the vector of the independent variable. Simply we can write vector of the z. Nothing but the number of z variables. Number of z variables. Especially, we can assume that variance is equal alpha 1 plus alpha 2 z2 I plus alpha m zm is equal third equation. See, as it is, we can write in the regression model. Here, the functional form. Here we have written regression form. So that is variance is a linear function. This is a linear function. So there is no power function. See, there is no squares. So the function of the z. So if alpha 2 is equal to alpha 3 and dot alpha m is equal to 0. For example, whatever we get the alpha values, there is a alpha 2 value, alpha 3 value, all the values should be equal. Alpha 2 is equal to alpha 3 is equal to dot alpha 2 alpha m. For example, if alpha m is equal to 0, so we can simply get the variance of the error value is equal to alpha 1. Nothing but these two variables could not affect the variance. So here, see the z variables and other z variables, which could not able to explain or influence in the variance. So in that case, we can say that the model is heteroscedasticity. For example, here alpha 2 and alpha 3 and dot alpha m is equal to more than not equal to 0. What it means? The alpha 2 value, alpha 3 value, it may influence the variance of the error. Okay. So if the alpha 2 value, alpha 3 value up to alpha m is equal to 0, so it means that the coefficient is 0 value. Nothing but the z variables are not influencing the error values. So in that case only we will conclude that there is no heteroscedasticity. If the alpha value, alpha 2 coefficient value, alpha 3 coefficient values up to alpha m values, if the coefficient values are not equal to 0, nothing but it may be more than 0. It means it may be positive, it may be negative. For example, if you consider, so which may influence the negatively or positively. So in that case, we will conclude that when we get the alpha 3, alpha 2, and alpha up to alpha m values not equal to 0, so we will conclude that the this particular model is suffering from heteroscedasticity problem. Okay. So, for example, that's why the variance of I is equal to alpha 1. Nothing but is a constant value. Alpha 1 is nothing but constant value. See here, beta 1, or sometimes we can call beta 0. Or simply we can write y is equal to a plus bx. What is a indicates constant value. If x is equal to 0, see when you write y is equal to a plus bx, if x is equal to 0, so how much you are going to get? Only constant value. That is a y is equal to a. Y is equal to only a. Here, the variance of the error term is equal to alpha 1, which is a constant, nothing but which we can add changes over a period of time. Am I right, dear students? Hello? Are you getting my points clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You don't have understood
It is clear.
example. See, y is equal to a plus bx. For example, if you take y is equal 3, y is equal to 3 plus 2x. if x is equal to how much you are going to get? Only 3. Okay, if x is equal to 0 only, y is equal to 3 plus 2 into 0. So then y is equal to 3 plus 2 into 0, 0. Then y is equal to, you will get only 3. Right? So that is called a variance of the error value is equal to alpha 1. That is the y is equal to a. Here y is variance is equal to alpha 1, which is a constant, which it cannot be changes. So therefore, to test whether the variance is homoscedastic, so one can test the hypothesis, that is alpha 2, alpha 3, dot up to alpha m is equal to 0. So before testing that, we can write that equation, that is alpha 1 is equal to alpha 3, alpha 1, alpha 3 is equal to alpha 4, like this. How many observations you are going to consider? You should write like this. So it seems that so all the variables should not will not influence the variance. That is called homoscedasticity. So this is the basic idea behind the Bruch-Pagan-Gottfried test. So is it clear, dear students?
It is clear, sir.
Okay. So there are other tests also there, Butterfly test, White test, Ramsey test, Phillips test, and Snoozer test, and Peak test. So these are the only 5 or 6 tests are very important in our syllabus. So when you are doing research, you need to know that what are the other tests also there, how we can apply, and what is the results are there, how we can interpret also, we need to understand. But at this level, I think these are not important for you, because if you go through all those things, you may not understand easily also. So when you enter the research, further MPhil or PhD course, other research areas, so you should come to know that, and you should learn about all the tests. So am I clear about the how we can test that heteroscedasticity? Okay, I'm going to close the session.